Welcome to our Bid to Win presentation, in which we are going to give you general hints and tips for best practice when writing your bids. We will then look at our expression of interest form and guide you through what catches the panel's eyes. But first we are going to give you a bit of information about SBRI and the Centre. Wales faces many challenges to improve the health and well-being of its citizens and to give current and future generations a good quality of life. Health and social care is widely accepted to be unsustainable in its current format, as demands for services rise based upon an ageing and growing population, whilst finances available to support provision of care is increasingly constrained. Public sector bodies face challenges where often no solution exists. We do not have easy access to groundbreaking technologies and innovations to help us meet our objectives. As a result, more efficient, effective and innovative ways need to be found to deliver services and transform current models to enable us to give a high quality and efficient care. A Healthier Wales, Wellbeing of Future Generations Act and Prosperity for All have key themes running through them. They encourage organisations to work together through collaboration to make Wales healthier, prosperous, resilient, innovative, united and connected. SBRI supports the delivery of this by not only encouraging innovation, collaboration and health improvement, but by growing the economy and reducing inequalities. These are key strategies that should be considered and can be included when writing your bid. SBRI stands for the Small Business Research Initiative. We work with public bodies and charities to help them identify their unmet needs, and with funding from Welsh Government, invite businesses that can provide innovative solutions to collaborate with us. This exciting partnership would not only potentially solve the health challenge in question, but can also help boost the economy and could potentially help solve similar problems faced in other sectors across the UK or potentially worldwide. SBRI is a tool that uses pre-commercial procurement and offers exemption from EU procurement rules when procuring R&D services. PCP uses public need as a driver for innovation. It enables you as public sector procurers to compare alternative potential solution approaches and filter out the best solutions that the market can offer and deliver to address your problem or challenge or need. This will enable the developed solutions to be fit for purpose using an agile development approach. At the end of the SBRI, normal procurement rules will apply if you wish to buy the solution. We are happy to provide further details on this if required. There are many benefits to running an SBRI project. You could argue possibly the most important being improving the unmet health needs of the public. Other benefits include it being funded. Public sector bodies don't have money for innovation, and having funds enables you to make a difference to areas you've not been able to focus on. Some of our projects have been 100% funded and others part funded, but we would encourage you not to let this put you off. In some cases, it is possible to obtain additional funding from various avenues. The SBRI process gives you the opportunity to work with innovative companies with the goal to deliver a solution to the challenges you are facing, and that is fit for purpose and agile. Such solutions have the potential to improve the efficiency, effectiveness and quality of the service you provide. The SBRI process is shown on this slide. Initially, public sector bodies, charities and third sector organisations are invited to submit an expression of interest to apply for funding a solution to the challenge they are facing. Following the deadline, an evaluation panel will meet to review the submissions, and those successful will be asked to complete a further bid application, which would require more detail about the problem they face. Again, the panel will review these and feedback will be given. The successful challenge leads will then work with the SBRI Centre of Excellence to organise a supplier day. This is an event where the challenge lead can lay out clearly what they would require and desire from any potential solution. Suppliers are then invited to submit an application detailing their solution. Following due diligence, suppliers are invited to present their idea to a panel, and those deemed most feasible will go through to stage 1, the feasibility stage. Up to 10 suppliers can be invited to progress, however it is normally about 5. Typically stage 1 lasts 3 to 4 months. After this time, the suppliers return to an evaluation panel meeting where 2 suppliers are then chosen to take their solution further through to stage 2, the demonstration stage. This will typically last 12 months, and if successful, the solution may be commercialised and offered to the public bodies through the procurement process. It is not mandatory that a solution must be procured, and at the end of stage 2, you are not obliged to go on to procure this solution. However, there are many different routes if you choose to. You may wish to talk to the procurement professionals in your organisation. Alternatively, we would be happy to discuss any queries you have. However, we recently ran a rapid SBRI project, the first of its kind to respond to the COVID-19 challenges. This has had a 5-week turnaround, and this again is something we would be happy to discuss if your challenge falls under the category of needing rapid deployment of a solution. This slide shows our centre aims, and we endeavour to ensure we fulfil those aims in a friendly and professional way. Our Centre of Excellence is a newly established and was set up to facilitate the SBRI process, but focusing solely on the health for Wales. We are proud to be able to support our stakeholders in a variety of ways. These include, but are not exhaustive, of one-to-one support, training, actively seeking funding opportunities, and project management. We want you to find the process as exciting as we do, and we strive to make it as smooth and as positive as possible, working collaboratively to benefit all of Wales. Going from left to right, our team comprises of Kieran Jagpal, Project Manager, Linda Jones, the Centre Manager, Alison Smith, Business Analyst, and Faye Williams, Centre Support Officer. Why is research so important? Investing the time at the beginning to research your problem will be invaluable when writing your bid. It will help you identify if an SBRI project that is of similar theme has already been run, or if there is a lot of other activities touching on your service area. If so, you may want to reconsider completing the application at this time, and instead contact the leads and try to collaborate with them, as further funding would be unlikely. It's important that you have exhausted all avenues of possible solutions. If there is something already out there but doesn't meet your needs, that's okay, you just need to evidence this. You know the challenge you face better than anyone else, but have you considered others may be experiencing something very similar in a different setting? And as such, these are key stakeholders to engage with and potentially collaborate with, not only making your project more desirable to fund, but will also increase the potential scope for market of the solution. We are all guilty of making judgments from our first impressions. When you apply for funding, you are asking the Welsh Government for a lot of money to be invested in your challenge. Therefore, the bid you submit must reflect your passion, because in effect they are investing in you also as the challenge lead, and this will be shown by the effort that you have gone to. It is easy to get carried away when you are describing something close to your heart, but you must make sure you keep your application clear and not presume the reader understands any unique terminology or acronyms. While you need to keep your bid relevant and concise by showing you have researched every fitting angle, shows you are invested in your challenge. When funding a project, it is essential for Welsh Government to be able to quantify the value your project solution will be able to add to the public sector. One of the hardest elements to quantify, but possibly the most rewarding, is the social value. How will a potential solution benefit the health and well-being for those in Wales? Being able to provide facts and not sweeping statements is really important. The economic value, goes without saying, is always a key driver in supporting innovation, and this should be included where possible. It may be, for example, that you have managed to save time of medical staff, and as such the cost saving could be shown. Consider who would be your end user. How would your solution benefit them and any other stakeholders along the line for that matter? However, be mindful to make sure all the benefits you list are realistic and smart. that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Again, just think how your paper reflects on the panel's confidence in you as a challenge lead. What impression do you want to give them? Make sure you clearly articulate your challenge and you have put a lot of thought into how a solution will benefit the Welsh community. How would your solution fit within the policies and/or strategies relating to health and well-being of the Welsh Government? For example, a Healthier Wales or the Future Generations Act. This is key in showing why they should invest in your project, and again it shows that you are thinking of the wider benefits this would have. Allow your passion for the subject to be shown, but also make sure you are not expecting the reader to have the same knowledge as you about the challenge. Reread your bid and ask yourself, have you explained everything clearly without complex terminology? A good bid would be clearly articulated, would grab the reader and show the passion of the challenge lead. However, it must also remain relevant, concise, and express the challenge clearly to the reader, not to leave them with questions or confusion. Make sure statements are backed up. If possible, include facts and/or figures. Use Harvard referencing. What is the scope and scale of the potential solution? Again, it must not be so fixed or too vast. Consider who the users of such a solution may be. It may have potential to benefit several areas as a result. A strong application would show you have taken the time to consider the potential market for a solution, and again this goes back to putting in the time to do research. When working on your bid, it is important that you are organised and manage your time well, especially as you probably will be juggling your day job around the submission. It's a good idea to have a plan. If you are working with a team, assign the various roles. Distribute the various areas of research and meet regularly in the run-up to the submission date. Make sure you give yourself enough time to allow for senior sign-off. This can be tricky with impending deadlines and competing priorities of both you and your manager, but you must allow them time to read your bid thoroughly and make any amendments. It's always good practice to ask a critical friend to review your application. This will be someone who is not closely linked to the problem. Therefore, if there are any questions about what they read, there is a good chance panel members reviewing the bid would also have the same questions. Again, time allowance for this needs to be factored into your plan. The SBRI Centre would be more than happy to help you review your paper. Finally, try to make sure you have enough time to submit your application. You may have an issue with your software or access to emails, so giving yourself enough time to allow for any issues makes sure that you can resolve these problems prior to the deadline. Unfortunately, we are not able to accept any late submissions. Following the review panel, we will always give you personal feedback on your application. This will be both positive and negative, but please take on board all the points as they may be invaluable in the future. It's always disappointing not to be invited to submit a full application, but please be brave and ask what could have been done differently. It may be that there is nothing more you could have done and there was just strong competition for funding that round. But feedback may also provide you with important knowledge to improve your skills and gain a successful bid in the future. Please remember, the SBRI Centre of Excellence will be more than happy to work with you if you are unsuccessful and will help you apply the feedback given if you wish to resubmit your application. Likewise, we will also be available for assisting those who have been invited to submit a further application. Just to recap, remember, never use sweeping statements. If you say it, prove it. Always make sure you submit an application that has been checked for any spelling or grammar mistakes. A professional submission will provide the panel with confidence in you as a challenge lead. Be courteous and contact all your key stakeholders prior to listing them as collaborators. Their involvement in the project would vary widely, but it is important to have them on board, as they would be able to offer ideas and opinions you hadn't thought of. SBRI is about innovation, so it's important that you never have a predetermined solution in mind or a supplier that you are hoping to work with. Be open-minded. And finally, the Centre of Excellence is here to support you throughout your journey, and we will offer a range of services, providing sessions like this, or one-to-one sessions is just one element. But if you have any questions or need support or guidance, we would be more than happy to work with you and help you. No question is a silly question. We are now going to talk you through each aspect of our expressions of interest form. Our centre has had a lot of experience in writing successful bids, and hopefully we will be able to guide you to submitting a strong application. The title may sound an obviously easy thing to complete, but our tip is to always keep it clear, make sure it draws the reader's attention and allows the reader to gather the general direction of the challenge that you are facing. If you can think of something catchy, that is always an advantage, as the panel will remember it, but again, keep it relevant. We would also advise you to keep it concise. If it is too wordy, it may be confusing for the reader. For example, a previous SBRI project was entitled Acute Solution to Acute Anxiety and Dementia. This project aimed to reduce the anxiety faced by people with dementia when having to travel to a healthcare setting by making their navigation to their appointment as smooth as possible. So whilst you can see the title they used is very catchy and makes you want to know more, it is still very relevant. Briefly describe the public sector challenge that you would like to overcome. This is where you get the opportunity to paint the picture of the challenge you are facing. It is important to let the panel know how this fits in culturally, on a local level, but also on a wider scale. Does your challenge align to a policy, for example, a healthier Wales? You'll be clearly passionate about the challenge you face as it affects you and prevents you from carrying out your role to the standard you would want to, so allow that to come through in your writing. It's important the reader realises the impact the challenge is having not only on you and your team, but also for the health of the people in Wales. As you only have 500 words in this section, you must make sure that you are to the point, but also allow room to back statements up with facts or figures that you may have access to. List the key issues and/or criteria to which you would like to find innovative solutions for. Again, you only have 250 words in this section, but these can be bulleted points if you find this works in getting across all the issues and criteria. Don't restrict yourself by thinking, is this solution possible? If it's something that you would like addressed, list it. You would be surprised by the innovative ideas businesses have come up with, so this should be almost like a wish list of where your challenge is concerned. What would your successful outcome be? This can be blue sky thinking. In an ideal world, what would your solution provide? However, it's important not to have a solution already in mind. Think about who would be the end users of such a solution. It may have the potential to benefit many more while solving your challenge. The aim of the SBRI Clinical Coding Challenge was to find innovative ways to code patients' clinical episodes within a hospital setting, whilst meeting government targets and reducing the pressures on the clinical coding staff. As you can see, this was very broad and enabled the freedom for businesses to consider an innovative solution. The technology developed had the capacity to code all simple, common episodes, freeing the staff up to concentrate on those more complicated cases. This system was able to code the episodes 150 times quicker than doing it manually, not only boosting staff morale, but enabling them to meet important targets. Describe what a successful outcome would look like. This would be desirable, realistic improvements against the challenge, not possible solutions. It is important that you are not fixed on what solution you want or need. A business may be able to come up with a solution that addresses your problem in such a way you never thought possible. This is why it is so important to be open-minded and give them the chance to show us what they can do. It is also essential that you are not already in talks with a business that you wish to provide the solution. The Centre of Excellence takes fairness and transparency very seriously. It is also important to be clear about what you want to achieve. The panel members do not have the opportunity to ask applicants questions, so you must make sure they will not have any confusion about any aspect of your submission. An example of a past project was to free up nursing time to be able to spend it where it was most valuable, with the patient. The challenge lead had no idea of the direction the solution would look into to do this, but agreed that if they could free up 10% of their time, it would help them deliver a better and safer service. Again, they kept their challenge SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. The digital solution came in the form of a digitalized nursing document that removed the need for paper via an iPad, which allowed the electronic recording of patients' details and overall freed up to 23% of the nurse's time. Have you researched or are you aware of any commercially available solutions to the problem you are hoping to overcome? It's important that you show the panel you have researched around potential solutions on the market. Look on a wider scale, use internet search engines. Is there a similar issue for your counterparts in other countries? How have they solved the problem? Are there things currently out there that you could adapt to solve your issues? Think about other industries, for example. Does the manufacturing sector have a system that could be adapted to your needs? It's important to show that you have looked at every potential solution and are able to identify why they would not be applicable in helping solve your challenge. Finally, have you identified any potential stakeholders you are considering working with? We would advise when thinking of who would be a potential stakeholder in your challenge that you think broad. Are there any other public sector bodies or charities that might be affected by something very similar, or perhaps have the same issue but where a different solution would be needed? Although the question asks if you have identified any potential stakeholders you are considering to work with, it's only good manners to ask them if they're happy to work with you if your application was successful prior to listing them. Collaboration is so important. It allows for a successful project. Your stakeholders may have different ideas that you have not thought of, or strengths that you would be looking to enlist in the project stage. Such partnerships would benefit from sharing your aims and goals, but also provide access to shared resources. The input provided by your stakeholders can be as great or as little as needed, or that they can commit to. Partnerships not only allow for shared visions, but also enable budgets to be shared. This is the case in the project I spoke about in an earlier slide. A recent call in relation to COVID-19 has brought about a new rapid challenge process and collaboration between Welsh Government, Welsh Ambulance, the Defence and Security Accelerator, the Ministry of Defence, private business and our centre to try to find a solution to rapidly sanitise ambulances in order to keep them on the road and helping more patients across Wales. Again, the solution may be something that can be adapted to help others, such as sanitising public transport or other vital areas. This is why it's so important to think of all stakeholders, not only at the start of your challenge, but throughout. There is a lot of helpful information which can be found on the internet. Here are just a few links you may find useful when completing an application, or if you wish to know more about SBRI or procurement. So what are the next steps? You could book a virtual unmet needs session if you would like us to help you identify your challenges, or if you have a few, help you focus on the one that would be most beneficial for you and your colleagues. If you already know what challenge you face, you can complete an expression of interests application form, or if you have a challenge that needs to be rapidly addressed, please contact us via our email address and we will be happy to discuss this with you. If you choose to complete an application, we can be your critical friend throughout the process. We can review and advise you on the content of your form before submission and guide you if you need a little bit more hand-holding throughout the process. If you need further guidance regarding completing your application or would like us to be a critical friend, all we ask is that you consider this in your time management plan. We need enough time to be able to give you the best advice. Please remember, the Centre of Excellence offers a wide range of services to help you throughout your SBRI journey, and we would welcome you to reach out if we can be of any help. Good luck.